How many times did,
Yeah.
when I would say to my parents, like, that guy's a false teacher, you don't talk about a man of God that way.
It's like, but
So I
is he a man of God?
can't
He's a false
point him
teacher.
out that I think he's a false teacher.
Yeah.
No, you don't talk about man of God. Remember Elijah or Elisha or whoever it was that, 45 kids or something like that got basically mauled by a bear because they laughed at his bald head. That is such a stupid story. How ridiculous.
Like that story. Hello, I'm Dan.
And I'm Can.
And this is the Dan and Can podcast. Welcome back.
Where we talk about what? What do we talk about on this podcast? In case they're a first-time listener.
I'm introducing it as we speak. But
they don't have much time. They're going to click off.
Welcome back for those that are coming back. And if you're new, welcome to the show. And this is a podcast where we talk about life after deconstruction and the messes that it creates. The happy little accidents where Candy tries to get rid of the portraits that I paint of her. Rude. But we're going to get into one today. So, we're recording an extra one this week because we're taking a week off of recording. Didn't want to miss anything. And with that being said,
for a second there, I thought you had a Jesus shirt on.
I do.
But you don't.
I don't. This is a Reese's shirt. But, so I didn't want to start a new series or anything and try to remember after a 2-week hiatus or whatever it's going to be of recording. So today is going to be what we're going to call a tangential podcast, where we're just going to have a conversation and just roll with it.
Okay, fine. I like that.
See where it's going to go. So it's going to be one of our walk-in talks, kind of like.
Can we go walking and talking?
Kind of like the West Wing, where they'd walk around the White House just talking.
I would do that.
Some people get it.
If you get tired of that's a real thing they do?
It was a TV show.
I know. West Wing is a TV
It'd be tough for the audio.
Is that something they do?
Because
not for a podcast, but
surround sounds. But
that's probably what they do when they get stressed out. It's always nice to go for a walk when you get stressed and you talk through it with somebody.
No, I think they were doing it because they wanted to show urgency. They're
so if there was a movement going on. So they're not walking like trying to process something. They're on their way. They're on a mission somewhere. It looks like anyways. Yeah. And then they go and sit down.
And folks, we're not on a mission anywhere. We're just a couple bumpkins that are going to ramble and stumble on. So this may be a short one if it doesn't go well, but that's all right. Give you a little summer hiatus of a short respite from us. But let's talk about deconstruction.
Sometimes I feel like you're just talking slow to stretch out the time.
My
ADHD is on strong right now, and I'm like, let's get going, bud.
About deconstruction.
What about it?
Wow, she is on one here. This is going to be a tough one for me today. She's clicking on all.
You're at slow speed and I'm at 2 times speed.
This is how I always am. Remember when I told you when I listened back to some of my recordings on TikToks or whatnot? I'm like, I bumped it up to like 1.5 and it sounds like a normal person talking.
Someone asked the other day, I was like, if I could play back a YouTube video at 2 or at 3, I would. You have to pay for like at premium or something. Yeah. But I play almost every video at 2 speed. And they're like, how can you even understand? I was like, I can understand them better when it's sped up. My brain is just like moving faster or something at the time. I don't always do it. And if something catches my attention, I will slow it down and play it back. Do you listen to things at normal speed all the time?
Yeah.
Who has time for that?
It's just my vibe, man.
My God.
Sometimes I listen to it at 0.5 speed.
I like slow with... Don't. And then, no. I just, when I'm learning something, especially when there's a lot of filler words or stuff I already know, you want to get past that part, but you want to like listen to it. You don't want to skip it.
Yeah.
Because there might be something that's dropped in there. I watch shows. If I'm listening to a show while I'm cleaning, I watch it at regular or listen to it at regular. I'm not watching it really.
We're learning a lot about Candy today.
Okay.
we're going to dive into this.
Mm-mm.
Let's dive into this.
That's not about deconstruction. You said we were going to talk about deconstruction.
Well, maybe this is a tangential podcast, so we're going to tangent all over. Anyways, we had an analogy we came up with the other day, because in deconstruction, and this is something that we've been processing through here again recently, just trying to, I guess, we were trying to justify some actions, I guess. Not a great way of saying it, but there's some truth to it. And it's not really justification. It's just life and how things happen. And it's with dealing with past relationships.
With past what kind of relationships?
Like relationships we had in the past, friends, family.
All types. Okay.
Lovers.
We're going to talk about past lovers. Is that what we're going to do?
No, are we? Are we going to talk about lovers? Being that one of yours just moved back to town. Yeah, that's what I thought. Mm-hmm.
What are you doing? God, Dan. Move on.
That sounds like you're swearing. There you go. God, Dan.
It could be interchangeable. It's interchangeable.
Yeah.
God damn it.
Yeah, there she is. So it's one of them things that I think people, especially when you're leaving a higher controlled religion, because you have that, you've been programmed to be a people pleaser, to always be, to do and sacrifice of self all the time, to make everyone else's life accountable or
easier, more comfortable.
Yeah, more comfortable.
Even at the expense of your own.
Yeah. So then when
your own authenticity.
Yeah.
You know, I can understand giving up some of your comfort, but when you're giving up your authenticity, then I have a problem with it. At the time, I didn't, though.
Yeah, but that's what we did. It was like, no, we got to make these people comfortable.
And would you say that when you're talking about people, yes, you were a people pleaser, recovering people pleaser, but I don't think men raised in evangelical Christianity typically are. I think in your case, you were kind of a surprise baby for your parents. You were the only boy. I think somehow that came about for you. I don't know if your dad really was wanting another child. I think
he wanted another kid.
He did too?
It was a year earlier than what they were planning on.
Okay. So I don't know why you ended up being a people pleaser. I don't know what caused that, because I don't know many men who are.
It's my aversion.
There are men who are, for sure. I do know some, but
I think most of it's my aversion to conflict.
Because your parents, nobody in your family, actually, if there was conflict, it was extremely unhealthy. Like, you almost associate all conflict as unhealthy. Yeah. But conflict is necessary in order for things to change. You have to be able to confront something.
Yes, you're right. 100%.
It's not funny. Take that shirt off. That's just ridiculous right now, the way you're acting.
Oh, you want me
It's hot in here.
It is.
Take your shirt off.
Candy's feeling one today.
No.
She's like, no, don't do that to our fans. Anywho, so yeah, I think part of mine was, part of that, just if I could make everyone else life suitable and fit into what they wanted, and
everybody would be happy, and you'd eventually be happy.
Then I wouldn't have to worry about conflict.
Yeah, maybe. I think for me, it was just make everybody happy, because then eventually maybe I would be happy too, because everybody else would be happy.
And honestly, I think with you, part of it was your people pleasing is that's the role that was assigned to you in your family, because you were the solver, especially of like emotional and relational type things. Everyone come to you with problems that you would have to solve.
Which is very interesting, because I was just talking at the beginning of the podcast how I like things sped up. But when it comes to like spending time with someone, I will slow things way down. I will stop everything. Think about how when people would just stop over here all the time, I would just stop everything I needed to do. I could be homeschooled, everything would just stop. Yeah. And they would get my full attention. So then I had to be like, okay, you can't do that. Yeah. Because it does do that. But that's where I slow down, because that is something that's a part of me. I don't not like that part. I like that part of me. But I do think that is a role that I do have a calmer, like I can calm people down. That is something, even though I have struggled with anxiety myself.
There's something about you that people just, if you find candy in the wild, be careful, because you're going to get comfortable and you're going to get...
People do let their guard down pretty quick with me.
You're going to let your guard down and you're going to start sharing stuff, because every time we go out, Candy's like, oh yeah, I talked to so-and-so, and man, they were telling me a lot of stuff that's going on in their life. I'm like, how do you do this? You've never talked to this person before. But it's so sweet.
I like that people feel that way around me. That's something, and obviously it helps with the work that I do now. Back then, it was just, sometimes though, it can feel like people just dumping on me and walking away. That's what it began to feel like.
That was a lot of it towards the end there.
Yeah, with the family dynamics. But yes, that it can, but I guess maybe in my family, but I do think women in evangelical Christianity are more we are programmed that way just because we're women.
Part of the dogma, because you're supposed to be subservient and submissive. So that means you have to be the people pleaser.
Well, and you're constantly taught to read people's minds, like preemptively know what they need. Like, Dad's going to need this, you know, he's going to want it quiet. He's going to want this. And so you try to prep yourself always.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. You were trying to accommodate to Dad's lifestyle. So we have to make sure this is ready, this is done. We have to have this here and this there. And all right, I got to go put on my new outfit and my pearls and my...
Oh, yeah. Like when I read that was when we were early married. We probably maybe had a kid or two. And I read I'm sure some of you have seen it, that it was like a 1950s wife. She's like when her husband comes home, no washer drying, no vacuuming, no noises, basically. Everybody's quiet. She looks good. She's put together. She basically takes his shoes off and massages his feet a little bit, asks him what he needs. You know, she's very like attentive to him. Like she's been serving the children all day long, and now she will serve him when he gets home. Even though he probably had secretary, you know, some of these guys, they went to work and they had people waiting on them. So they come home and they have somebody waiting on them, and she never gets anybody waiting on her. It's a privilege if she gets it. And it will be like a weekend a year, if that. But anyway, so I remember reading that, and I remember feeling that and going, there were some things I was like, absolutely, I'm not wearing pearls, first of all. Second of all, I did try to like make sure I didn't have spit up t-shirt on, you know, when the babies are little. That didn't always fly. I never massaged your feet when you came home.
Yeah, my feet were nasty.
But I did try to like make sure the laundry wasn't running and stuff. It didn't always. And then there was times it just went out the window because the days were so hectic, but I tried. And it was...
She did. She put in valiant effort.
And I don't know. I mean, maybe you noticed, maybe you don't. Maybe you didn't even notice, you know?
Oh, I noticed. Like, look at her. She's trying.
Wow. Okay. So how about it was okay if it was loud?
Reserving a spot for her in heaven with all her submission.
Now I'm getting irritated. Serenity now.
We were filling the roles. So... yeah, so that was kind of our life back then. It was people pleasing and just fitting into the roles that we're in. And yours was obviously different than mine, because yours was to be submissive and subservient and a helpmeet for all of my needs. You know, that 1950s article was, don't bother him with your problems because they don't matter.
Oh, I remember that one.
Nothing compared to what he's been dealing with.
Okay, just ask him about his day. Just shut your mouth about your day.
Your problems don't mean anything compared to what he's been dealing with all day long. So, yeah, that one was a tough one for you to choke down.
I didn't do it well either. So I was like, this motherfucker. Blaming you. You didn't even write it. You're like, I didn't ask for this. I don't know what's going on. Okay.
So, anywho, so we've been dealing with this here recently of just, you know, we cut back a lot of relationships. And is that the right path to go down? Is this, you know, and we've had this conversation recently of, are we doing the right thing here? Is that what it needs?
Did we really cut out those relationships, or did they cut us out? A lot of times they cut us out.
Yeah, I mean, but
because they wanted us to fit a mold that we wouldn't do.
The relationship was severed for whatever reason. When whether it's us putting up a boundary,
they would probably see it. Many of them would see it as us because we went a different direction or whatever.
They'd see it, well, and we could see it the other way, because a lot of it's on
my family. Yeah, because your family doesn't know anything.
Because you didn't fit into the roles that you always fit into. You decided, no, Candy's going to live life for Candy now.
Well, not just for candy.
But that was a big motivation.
I'm going to be authentic.
Yeah.
And if that means saying no sometimes.
Let's get a visual on this, and this is what we'll go with here on this part. Okay?
Okay.
This might be the only video we have today. But we're going to get into something that'll learn Candy a lesson.
Learn Candy a lesson.
Yeah.
Wow.
Your tomato plant might be growing too many leaves. Here's the simple way to prune tomatoes without cutting off your harvest. Tomato plants grow in 3 different ways, and once you know what to look for, pruning gets way easier. First, you've got the leader, the main stem growing upwards.
Right
then there are suckers, these little diagonal branches that grow in the V between stems. These are important because they'll grow flowers and eventually tomatoes. And finally, leafing branches. These branches grow straight out from the stem and mostly just make leaves. A lot of these lower leafing branches start drooping towards the soil, and that's where problems start. Leaves touching the dirt can spread diseases like tomato blight and other fungus. So here's what we look for to prune. Lower leafing branches that are close to the soil. Any yellow, spotted, or diseased leaves. Better airflow means healthier tomatoes and less disease. One important rule though, don't prune more than 30% of the plant at one time. Now your tomatoes can put more energy into growing fruit instead of turning into a jungle. Let me know if you have any other tomato questions.
Okay, I know your tomatoes. And people now think they're watching a gardening show. I think you just learned something.
We're in an agricultural state. No, I didn't. I knew this stuff.
Bullshit, because I told you it. Don't act like you knew that before. You did not. I don't know why you're staring at the camera. Don't stare at them. Face the confrontation that's right in front of you.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10. The reason we're watching that, because like our good Lord and Savior did, agriculture is a good lesson. Nature is a good lesson on life. So when you have plants, like this case, tomato plant, but this works for a lot of other plants, you want to prune back sections. So like in this one, you take the leaves off. Some of them are going to be diseased or potential danger for disease getting into it. So obviously you don't want that getting in there and infecting the whole plant. So you want to take it off.
And not because they're evil or anything, but because they're close to the ground where there can be diseases.
Yeah. So they could pick that up and then infect the whole plant. Mm-hmm. So you want to prevent that from happening. You want to keep the plant healthy. Yeah. And then some other parts of the plant that you want to prune off, you want to take away because that's taking energy away. So if it's just a leaf and bland, suckers are where the fruit comes out of.
No, the suckers you have to take.
She said the sucker was the V. She called it a sucker.
You want the leafing plants. Sometimes you have to cut the suckers. The reason it's called a sucker is because it's sucking energy and it will produce fruit. But if you want to have better fruit, you take some of those out.
Yes, that's what we're getting to here.
Oh, I thought
so you're cutting off some of these areas that are stealing energy from the whole plant, because you can have a plant that makes 500 tomatoes, but they're all real teeny tiny because it took the energy to distribute amongst all 500, or you can get 100 tomatoes that are 5 times bigger and decent sized ones because you let the energy that's in the plant go to a less amount of fruit and make. Sure. So you're conserving the energy and
you're directing the energy
into the areas you want to direct it.
If you don't want it spread so thin where you're not producing the quality you want.
Yeah. And the same thing, I've heard the same thing for apples and apple trees.
I'm sure it's true for every plant.
When you have apples growing on a branch, a lot of times there'll be a cluster of apples. They say, pull off, if you have a cluster of 5, pull 4 of them off, then you'll have 1 decent apple. Otherwise, you'll have 5 tiny, insignificant, really not
edible.
Well, yeah, they're not going to be the greatest for consumption because they're just so small and they won't have the proper.
Do you ever notice that organic apples are smaller than other ones?
Yeah, because they're.
I kind of like the organic size though.
Yeah, she's an organic type of gal. Anyway, but you conserve the energy and direct it and control where it goes in that. So in deconstruction, we were talking about this the other day, is that's kind of how you have to live your life. And what we're looking at is some of these relationships were taking a lot of energy. right?
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, people would just show up unannounced, didn't call it, didn't plan it, didn't schedule it. They
And
just
this
show
is
up.
not wrong on their part.
No,
They just wanted to visit with me, which is fine.
They wanted to visit, but this is what were trained.
I trained them that way
for many years of
unknowingly.
If I show up, Candy's going to drop everything and deal with me.
And then they get the idea that Candy's not busy.
Yeah.
When behind the scenes, everything's backing up because they're there. Because my tendency is if someone's here, that's what would always. Also, when I would go to someone's house, if it was planned, like I was supposed to arrive at their house, and they would be like cleaning the whole time, and we'd chat, but they'd be that because my love language is spending time, and that's probably why I do that for other people. That is, I'm sure, why I do that. And then they are not doing that for me. That would give a mixed message to my subconscious. I didn't understand all of that, but I'd be like, man, they just didn't really feel like they had time for me, or they didn't plan for me coming over or whatever. But so they used to do it, but it was because I had set it up. And so they also had different ideas about me. They probably thought, oh, she's not doing much. She doesn't have much going on. That was part of this whole system that was trained up, because anytime they'd show up, you were available because you drop whatever you're doing and do it. And you trained them to be able to just show up whenever. So, I'd come home and you'd be like, I'm sorry, I didn't get this, and this done today. But so-and-so came over and so-and-so popped in and this person called and this person, I was texting back and forth with them and be like, okay, all right, no, that's fine. You're busy, you don't have to justify anything, but you felt bad because you felt like you failed in your service to me. Get to work.
And I'd be like, well, I guess you'll just have to wait to have dinner until all that stuff's done and make sure
I was making dinner. So.
Yeah, I know. So you'd have to cook it for us and then wait to eat it yourself until all your chores were done for the day. Because I completed my work schedule.
Can you imagine if you'd have said that to me? That would not have gone well.
There would not be a podcast going on today, I'll tell you that much. So, but that was kind of how it was. And you're sitting here recently going, I feel bad because some of these people are reaching out and they want to do stuff. And then, I had to be a little more serious and straight with you, being like, well, let's think about this. You're a plant. You're the tomato plant. And right now you're trying to build some other stuff for you and to get yourself going. And it's the first time in your life you've been able to do this. The reason why it's the first time in your life is because you've taken off some of these suckers that have been growing up and they've cut themselves off or whatever. So all that energy that was going out here now has been able to distribute into the main leader.
I have time and energy to do that.
So you're like, oh, now I got time and energy. Now I can work on some things that I want to work on. But now people are trying to reintroduce in, and these new suckers are trying to establish themselves. And you're like, I feel bad, but I know it. And you'd sit there and you'd say, I know what this is going to be. They're going to want it. This is how this always goes. It's, it is what it is.
There's a predictable pattern to it.
Yeah. I don't want to share too much, but there was a predictable pattern what it was going to be. And it was going to be a lot of energy consumption on your part. Even though you're an extrovert and love meeting with people, there are circumstances where that is not a fulfilling energy, but a draining energy for you because it's not reciprocal. You're not getting anything back.
No, and because that's usually when people expect me to fit a mold that they've created for me. Yeah. And I don't get to be authentic. Obviously, I have more energy when I get to be authentic with others. But when they, are insistent that I fit a mold, well, then I can't do that anymore. I don't have the energy. Yeah. I can't get comfortable.
You guys have been watching this long enough. You understand that this
I don't move around that much in the podcast. I sit still. I do.
Okay, folks, I want you to start marking.
Don't. Nobody respond to that, please.
And then write back to us how many position changes.
Stop it. I don't change positions very often. I sit still. I sit very still. You don't think I do? I'm sitting in this chair the whole time.
We have over a year of video evidence now.
Dan, I sit in this chair the whole time. What else am I doing?
You sit in the chair, but you're sometimes your legs are down, they're up, they're around. Sometimes you're just like lean back, completely sideways up against the wall.
That's still sitting still for me.
Sometimes it's just like you're like ah.
Okay, let's move on. I'm going to try to sit still.
You can't.
I can't.
This isn't your personality. You're full of energy. Okay, remember the worst part about you breaking your leg was what?
That was terrible.
Yeah, it was terrible because you couldn't move. You had to stay still. You cannot stand still.
I can't stand still. What are you talking about? Okay, let's just stop talking about it. Let's move on.
Are you serious?
Yes. I feel like I'm staying still because I stay in this chair.
Okay, let's watching a movie. Okay.
I will stay still.
When I'm watching a movie, how do I?
You just sit and stare at the TV. It's terrible.
And what do you do?
I usually have something in my hand that I'm working on.
Usually you have like a computer, maybe a crocheting thing here, a notebook over here, and another book over here, and your phone. And you're going through all of it.
That's normal. That's still sitting still.
And then every 10 minutes you're like, oh, what just happened? Who's this? So then,
and then we go to a theater and I'm like, because I'm forced to sit there doing nothing.
But there's nothing wrong with that. That's just who you are. You're just full of energy.
Okay.
You always have been that way.
I don't like to sit still for super long.
You are constantly moving.
Yeah.
I mean, you are the perfect example of idle hands are the devil's playground because there ain't no devil in you.
I like to have my hands busy. That's true. Okay, come on. Let's just go. Nobody wants to hear this.
We're learning about candy
we don't need
today.
It's hot in here.
It's because you're moving around. So you're doing a full calisthenics workout. This is like, we can start selling this as a workout.
This is your workout.
Jane Fonda has nothing on Candy.
Yeah,
Candy's
okay.
Deconstruction podcast workout. Just mirror her as she goes. You guys will be all over
right,
the place.
go on.
So, but the pruning out, to get back into that, we were sitting there talking about this, and you're like, I feel bad. And I go, but should you? I mean, these are things that you've had to set up. So you have to decide now, do I want to let this branch grow again, which means it's going to take energy away from these things you're working on. Mm-hmm. And do you have that time at this moment? Because you're in a fledgling business right now. It's starting to grow, and it's going to take a lot of energy. There's a lot of kinetic energy that needs to get established and just get going. Once it gets going and you get established, there'll be a lot less that's needed. So then you can support some of this other stuff. But right now,
I think the one thing that helped me with that is you saying, because I don't like it when you say you're doing this for you. I don't like that. That feels very selfish to me. Mm-hmm. Is that part of my upbringing? Maybe. But also, I don't feel like I'm a person that's just selfish, that's about me.
No.
So what you said, it's for us. Like us and our family, our kids,
yeah.
and then that I can get on board with.
Yeah. And the selfish part is what you're doing is building something that's actually extremely selfless because you're helping others. And that's kind of what we think of as selfish, because you say selfish and the Christian mindset is, oh, so you're all about you. Mm-hmm. I posted a couple things here recently about, you got to look into yourself and be selfish on focusing on you. So then I continue on with, because that will push out more from you to help the world around you. It's a ripple that affects you.
I would say that's true with self-love.
And start looking at, because when you start doing this and start looking into self, you start realizing that the self is beyond yourself, and that instead of my actions seeing how the community can conform to me like I was doing, it's how are my actions affecting the community around me? So if I do this, is this going to have an adverse action on everything around me? Then maybe I shouldn't do that.
Well, and also,
but if I do this, if it has a positive, then all right, I'm going to do that because I want to do that.
And maybe
but it's also going to help everyone around me too.
In some ways, it may come across as selfish to say, okay, like I have this need, I need this need met. How am I going to get it met? Right? Because we all have needs. Mm-hmm. How am I going to get it met? But we don't understand that if we are meeting our own needs, then nobody else has to meet them, right? Yeah. Which is actually helpful to society, as long as you're not meeting them at the expense of someone else, unless that other person is willing, right? So you're meeting your own needs, which means those needs are met, which means you're in a better space, head space, emotional space, mental space to help others, because your needs are, you've satisfied those needs, whatever they are, So I think in Christianity, for sure, just the self in general, and that this could almost be the topic, a lot of it, is it's so shamed as such an evil thing. And even when they say the flesh, in the Bible, we were always taught to think about this physical body. And that is not what it's, I don't think that the Bible, when it's talking about the flesh, I think it's just like the systems that are set up in the world, it's like the non, the non-metaphysical, the physical things, that you can see and touch. And yet we were taught like the body is evil. The body is not evil at all. It is your container.
We're put in these bodies, which are just sin machines that we have to try to control and contain. I
mean, they shame everything, all the natural functions that you have.
We dealt with that too. When we started pulling away, it was like, oh, you want to kill babies now. You want to behead Christians in the Middle East. You want to do all these. It's like, no, it's not my character.
Like, if that's never been my character.
Just because I said I don't like religion anymore, it doesn't mean like I don't like religion.
But that's what they're taught, and then you'll also hear Christians like without like,
and it's ridiculous.
They think that they will. I think one of the first things people have said to me when I was deconstructing early on was, so you're saying that you can go out and murder people?
Yeah.
And I was like, I mean, I don't believe there's a God out there that's going to punish you, but do you want to murder people? I have zero desire. I have less desire now, probably. I mean, I never really wanted to murder people, but I don't want people to suffer. I don't want people to hurt. So it's an interesting response, but I will say that it's similar to the response that if Paul was sharing the same thing at the time, I don't know, because he was said the response to Paul sharing the gospel, whatever that was to him, was, so you're just saying like people can just keep on sinning? Like that was the response. Now, when you hear people share the gospel today, there is no way that's the response.
No.
So they're sharing something completely different, because the response that you get from people today is like, it's almost like you have to decide whether you're going to give up all the things that you like or whatever for God.
Mm-hmm.
You can't do this now. You can't say that now. You can't go there now. You can't be with that person now.
Yeah, because the passage he was referring to people, what are you saying? Like, don't sin for the sake of sinning, but, all things are
permissible. I think he says that in a different area. I don't, he might say it in the same area. I think it's in Romans or something. Basically, he says like, he's sharing the gospel and he's like, and people are saying like, so you should just sin. And he's like, that's not at all what I'm saying. Like, you should go on and sin. So then it got warped to, no, don't sin. It's just like, they're so hung up on sin. Christians are the most hung up on sin. If Jesus took care of the problem,
then he took care of the problem.
Yeah, but they don't really believe that. Not evangelicals anyways. They really don't believe it, because they're so focused on not doing it. And it's like, if he took care of it, why are you so focused on it?
I've used that response to some people when they start to go, oh, so sin's all right, you can do all this? And I go, well, if Jesus took care of it, then he was the perfect sacrifice and he took care of all the sin in the world and more. So then, otherwise his work is incomplete. And then it goes radio silent because they can't respond to that. The only response they have would be like, well, it's the deferred payment. I'm like, well, then I know a Nigerian prince that has needs $2,000, but he'll give you $1 million in return because he's got $10 million in the bank, but he can't get it unless he has to.
Deferred payment, you trust him.
Yeah, it's coming to you in the future, so don't worry about it. So, but and I think what you're saying there too, with the sin for the sake of sinning, that is the mindset the Christians actually have of what the flesh is that if you leave the faith, then you're just going to sin for the sake of sin, and you're just going to go out and do all sort of the debaucherous things in the world. You're going to try to experiment with everything. And it's like, well, no, I still got my moral character.
And they'll be like, where'd you get that then? You got that from God. Which I would say to that, maybe religion has a place in that it can teach you some morals, right? I don't know if it's necessary to teach those morals. I don't think so. But at least at some point it helped with teaching some morals. Like, don't kill each other. I don't know. I have no idea because I haven't done any research and I'm talking out my ass right now. But I'm trying to give it, like, it has a place. But if you stay in religion as your spiritual compass, I guess I should say, if you stay in especially like a monotheistic kind of religion, I think it's basically like always riding your bike with training wheels, never really getting the training wheels off and actually riding your bike. And by that, I don't mean, oh, now you can go out and you'll follow all the rules. No, now you go out and explore and you learn from life. You try things, you learn what works for you and doesn't. There's no formula for this. You go on your journey, and you don't rely on some being out in the sky to tell you like no, yes, no, yes. You find out by living it and experiencing it, and maybe some things you don't do because you're like, that doesn't seem like a smart thing to do. I don't, there's a lot of risk involved and I don't want to do that. Or maybe there's risk involved, but I'm willing to take that risk.
Yeah.
Sometimes you'll do it that way. Sometimes you'll do it the other way, and everything in between. And so I think, but what religion teaches you to do, or at least the type of religion we were in, is it teaches you to never take the training wheels off, to just stay within the boundaries, keep the bumpers up in the bowling alley, all of these things where, keep the tee on the tee ball. You could go with all these analogies where it's just like, you don't ever get to like, try to do it yourself. Try to, and you're shamed if you do. Like when we started to say, you know what, I think there's some things you can go out and explore it a little bit, then it's like, oh, you're making yourself into your own God. Yeah. And it's like, you have a God that someone told you, like you're believing in some man has told you the interpretation of this God. Yeah. You're not taking, the Bible doesn't clearly say, as that's said all the time, doesn't clearly say anything. It's up for interpretation. All of it is up for interpretation because your interpretation that evangelicals have, and when I say you, I mean like evangelicals, fundamentalists, they think that they have that one true interpretation.
That's the reason why
all of them, all the different denominations.
An episode a few weeks back about all the candid conversation about all the denominations. It's because the evangelicals interpret it this way, and the Catholics interpret it this way.
The Lutherans interpret it this way, and the Baptists,
the Presbyterians, and the
Jehovah's Witnesses, and the Mormons, and they all slightly twist it, and they consider each other like going to hell. Yeah. I mean, evangelicals did not think a single Catholic would be in heaven. No. You had to convert, right? Yeah. That was a big thing because my grandparents were Catholic, and my dad was like so concerned and spent a lot of his energy instead of taking that, sucker out. He spent a lot of his energy was trying to get my grandma to become evangelical, and she was Catholic. So he wasted those years of his life with her just not liking her religion. And so it became like,
I'm not leaving the church because the priest is cute.
Yeah, my grandma did think her priest was cute. She liked his eyes. Yeah, he did have pretty eyes. They were like really blue-green. I remember that. And I was like, yes, Grandma, he does.
Grandma was a player.
She liked watching basketball players because she liked watching their butts run up and down.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, she was a lovely lady.
Grandma was a character.
Yeah, but, she was.
Yeah, I mean, and it's the Christian mindset is just so stuck on actually what is being taught and what should have been taught and set on these are the rules that you have to follow. It's very formulaic. These are the words you have to say to accept Jesus Christ and get into heaven. This is all you have to believe, and nothing more, nothing less.
But then they add on all sorts of things, too. Once you believe it, you got to live this way to prove.
But here's all the rules for it.
Or to show you're thankful. So basically, you're paying him back.
All these rules, didn't Christ take care of it? Well, not yet. He took care of it when when he comes back or when you die. Yeah. And then it's taken care of. But up until that point, you're just trying to reach that perfection until you get to that point.
It's insane. It's just like a carrot dangling right in front of you that you'll never reach.
This is nothing. I mean, this is a scam then.
No, yeah. It is not even the same gospel that was taught in the Bible. Yeah. Which at least people were like breaking into, like people were sneaking into their churches to see what freedom they had. Yeah. That's very different. You don't see anybody doing that in churches. Yeah. Nobody thinks, I'm going to sneak into a church to see how free they are. Nobody does that. No. That's insane.
I got a video of a guy sneaking into that Catherine Winnick's. She prays over all the kids with autism and delivers them from autism.
I don't even know who she is.
Oh, you would if you saw it. And the guy snuck into her church to go to the service and just started making fun of all. Because it was a huge grift. It was her came out, then she introduced another side pastor, which was the pastor of financial ministry. And then he's like, here's a QR code. Here's how you can do to give and all this. God. Then she came out and did all their stuff.
So it's just a business that they don't claim, then yet they get whatever.
Another tangent there. But yeah, they don't even follow. Because remember how many times we were like, after we deconstruct, we're like, these are the reactions that Paul was getting and Peter was getting.
Yeah, for the first time I understood, like, I really felt like I related with Paul. Like, I would be like, whoa, I remember reading that after deconstruction had started and I'd gotten that response and I was like, whoa, that's the same way they respond to me now. Like I'd never understood that. And I was like, that's interesting. So something I'm saying is similar.
Yeah.
And it was just basically that sin wasn't anything. It's nothing to be worried about. Like stop thinking about it.
And you think about all the actual teachings of sin, you know, a lot of it is, you know, like don't eat meat. I don't give a shit. Just do it. It's, you know, what's right for you.
What feels right to you, do it.
Yeah.
You know, stop making a formula for others.
Yeah.
If you feel convicted by it, then don't do it.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want to do it, go ahead and do it. As long as you're, you know, not hurting others or, you know, Which you need to keep in mind, obviously.
Would be a great lesson to learn because, you know, then you could apply it to, well, if you don't think same-sex marriage is for you, then don't do it.
Yeah. I mean, you
but don't worry about the other people doing it down the street.
Yeah, like, why do you care? And you know why they'll say they care?
Why do they say God's punishing them?
Yeah, they think God's going to punish the whole country.
Yeah.
And yet, what happened like a while back ago, there was a whole Christian camp that got like...
That was last year in Texas.
Got like drowned, didn't they? Like a bunch of them. Like, and it's like, they don't think of that as God. They think God is punishing. Why is he punishing those who believe him? That doesn't even make sense.
And they'll be like, we had a whole flood, took out everything, except for this one church.
Oh, so the church is still standing. And it's like, oh my goodness, people. There's still a Bible sitting and floating on the water.
Yeah, but it's like, so your whole God destroyed a whole community, probably killed numerous people. But he's like, look at my power. My church is still standing.
Yeah, it's so ridiculous. Instead, maybe give the credit to the architects and the builders who built it because it's like, dang, that withstood that. Maybe we can learn something so we could build something like that for a flood or whatever it was.
But so, yeah, we have all these people that were in our life telling us this stuff. We started deconstruction and it was automatically, well, you're just going to sin. It's like, I read this somewhere before. Where was it? Oh, yeah, it was in the Bible. Yeah. You're telling me it's sin for sin's sake and that's going to glorify and show grace. And, you know, and it's like, no, that's not what it is. It's just live life, experiment, figure out what works.
That's one of the biggest things I think I would tell people. Stop being focused on sin.
Yeah.
I remember saying that to someone. I've probably sinned many, many times today. I think I said 1 billion times today. I wouldn't even know it because I'm not keeping track. And that struck her a certain way. And I was just like, I stopped caring about because when I was an evangelical, I was obsessed with, did I gossip? Did I think a wrong thought? Did I say something wrong?
And
it was just obsessive.
Too, because I remember that. There's that one time where you were sitting there and you were just in the dumps. You're like, I got to talk to so-and-so because...
Someone was talking about her with me and I joined in the conversation.
About her and then I was gossiping.
I was gossiping.
So then you went up and hat in hand. I have to confess to you.
Yeah, I remember that.
I've been gossiping for you, and it was just like you got undressed right then by her. Like,
think about it. If someone came up to you and said, I've been talking. I mean, now I could handle it. I could be like, okay, because I think everybody gossips sometimes. To me, it's no big deal. But that did not go well, but it was because of the conviction, right?
Yeah, and then you probably had to sit back and be like, well, I deserve that.
Yeah.
I deserve that verbal beating and lashing that I got because I was such a gossip.
Yeah. And it's just, and if you think about it, let's be honest, a lot of gossip has helped save some things sometimes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It has gotten, sometimes gossip is what causes things all the way up to laws being put in place because there's problems, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure it got spread around back when people were enslaving other people. And it got spread around that so-and-so was beating and it got spread around. And so there would be shame on that person. Maybe they'd be okay with it. I don't know. But, things like that. So gossip, like the rumor mill.
Mm-hmm. The rumor weed.
Yeah. From Larry.
VeggieTales.
I wanted to say Larry the Cable Guy. Yeah, VeggieTales.
Yeah, Larry the Cable Guy with VeggieTales.
But I mean, okay. And then people will that's in the Bible. You shouldn't gossip. But here's the thing. The Bible's been messed with so much, and we have earlier episodes where we talk about that, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
There have been kings and leaders that have come in and changed that, fixed that, take that out, because it doesn't, and saying don't gossip would be, who benefits from that? People in power benefit if you can't talk about, hey, this is a problem, this is going on, and it's a problem.
Yeah, the Epstein files.
Because if you think, really, if nobody ever talked about it, it would never have gotten steamrolling. And now it's at a halt because people in power are trying to stop it because there's no justice.
Well, they're doing all these distractions to keep us from keeping talking about it.
Yeah.
So keep bringing it up. Let's figure this out.
And I wouldn't be surprised if in some of these churches they're like, stop, that's gossip. You don't, stop talking about it. I could see some of those pastors shaming that way because that's how they use. That's one of their tactics to keep their people. That's one of their tactics to keep their people in line is don't talk about things. So then it became where gossip went from going and maybe talking about, I have this problem, blah, 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 with your friends. Which to me, even I know people gossip about me sometimes. I don't care at this point. It's like it's human.
Yeah.
I do some shitty things sometimes. I do things that are wrong. Would I like you to tell me to my face at some point? Yeah, if it's something I keep doing and it hurts you, I would want to know because I can handle that and I can work through it. Is it maybe something I'm going to stop? If I know it's shitty, yes. If I think, no, I think that you think it's shitty and you just don't like it, but I enjoy it, then maybe our relationship changes. But that's okay, right? I don't care if someone talks about me. I know that a lot of my family members talk about me. I don't care. I don't shame them for it. I don't think they shouldn't. I'm okay with it. Was I when I was an evangelical? No, I would have thought that was wrong, right? But I think doing that, keeping people from talking like that, then it turned into prayer request, where now you're talking about somebody else's business to everybody else, just so everybody else can know and spread it around. And now it's not even your problem that you're bringing to somebody. You're talking about somebody else's something. I think slander is a problem. Yeah. Yes, that's when you're taking somebody's character and shredding it in front of other people unnecessarily. Yeah, I don't like that, but I mean, that's my opinion. I could be proven wrong there too, but I think gossip to me, at least when I was an evangelical, was saying anything about anybody. Like if I was having a problem, I was not allowed to talk about it. I felt like that was gossip. I could not mention this was bothering me. I had to take it to God. And they will say those kind of things. Take it to God. Just take it to God.
Yeah, because it prevents anyone questioning them.
Yeah.
Or
let's just not even deal with it. And then nothing gets dealt with.
Or discovering what's actually going on.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's because like say somebody's getting, abused in the church by the pastor or something. Don't talk about the pastor that way. You don't talk. How many times when I would say to my parents, like, that guy's a false teacher, you don't talk about a man of God that way.
It's like, but
so I can't point him out that I think he's a false teacher.
Yeah.
No, you don't talk about man of God. Remember Elijah or Elisha or whoever it was that, 45 kids or something like that got mauled by a bear because they laughed at his bald head. That is such a stupid story. How ridiculous.
I like that story.
Would you really be happy if even one child was mauled because of your bald head and they laughed at it? Your kids would all be gone.
Some people. So, So, yes.
Anyways.
So these are some of the things we encountered in the energy stealers that were stealing all this energy from us. And in the conversation we were having, you're like, well, so, and I'd tell you, well, what's going to happen if you reopen and allow this to happen again in your life and allow these people to come back in and start growing on your
if they have not changed at all,
if they haven't changed, and it's going to be the same. And you're like, well, I'm going to have to give time and energy to them. So where's that time and energy going to come from? Because now that's going to steal from me and the kids and your interest and everything else.
And you're a spoiled husband, so
I am a spoiled husband. So is that what you're willing to sacrifice? I mean, there's no right or wrong decision here. If you decide,
it's just there's consequences.
I need to take energy away from these people right now just to help out this person here. And there's definitely times for that. But you just got to know if you want to allow that branch to start growing for a little bit. But then you also have to keep an eye on it to know if that branch is taken away from everything else in the plant and it's not producing any fruit. And now all of a sudden these fruit producing branches in your life are starting to dwindle because this one's taking so much energy. You have to reevaluate and be like, okay, it's time to start taking you down and let the fruit start producing again. Because what good are you doing if you're just producing leaves and nothing for me to enjoy afterwards?
Yeah.
So it's the analogy we kind of worked with. And I think that kind of spoke to you a little bit because you love getting your fingies dirty and crawling around in the dirt. But just understand in that way that you're just being a farmer of your own life. You're grooming the plant to...
You're the gardener.
Yeah, you're the gardener, and you're farming where you want the plant to focus its energy on.
Which, just as a side thing, I would say, like, in Christianity, we would not have liked that statement. We would have said, God is the gardener.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Then God has to prune and pull the relationships down. Sometimes naturally relationships will go, but it is good for you to intentionally think about it. Like, where am I putting my energy? You are the gardener. It's not God is the auto or pilot and you're the autopilot. You know, I know, God, we were taught that so much. You are the pilot of your own plane or whatever you want to call it. You are in the driver's seat.
Yeah.
And God is, I mean, the Holy Spirit is the helper. You know, that's really where the Holy Spirit is, like the power, I guess you'd want to say it, but I would say that source, whatever that is, universe is on your side. It will come along and support you, but you make the decisions in your life. You don't get to then say Satan did it if something bad goes wrong. You don't get to say God's hands were tied. How many times did I hear that? I'm like, what kind of God is hands is tied? Who's tying his hands? This is crazy.
Well, we don't know what he's into.
I knew you were going to make that a sexual joke. I knew it.
Daddy.
Yeah.
Father, Daddy. Daddy God.
Why am I having flashbacks like gemstones or something? Do they call him that?
God's my daddy.
Father Daddy.
Yes, Daddy.
But anyways, so it's like you're in, I think another big thing I've learned in deconstruction is that I'm in the driver's seat. I'm responsible for the decisions I make and where my life is at in a lot of areas. Yes, are there some things that happened to me that were out of my control? Absolutely. I did not, as far as I know, I did not choose, you know, who my parents were and what religion I would be. I mean, maybe I did if reincarnation is something and you're making those decisions, I don't know. But I didn't choose those things as far as I know. But once I was able to start making decisions for myself, now I'm I need to take back my power where I can. Not in every area can I, but there's a lot of areas where I can, and I need to do that. And I need to be responsible for the consequences, knowing I need to think through it. There's consequences, just like you said. If I let these relationships back in my life, there's a consequence for that. It will play a role in my relationships with the ones that I have in my life right now, and it will play a role with this person. It will play a role in my energy. Yeah. And I need to weigh that out and so then you're intentionally creating your life, you're more consciously creating rather than just letting the subconscious stay in loops where you can't get the life you're looking for.
Yep. So yeah, you got to be, and I think that's kind of one of the biggest lessons we've learned, and just recently trying to put a picture to it. It kind of helped us with the gardening type concept of prune this off. You want to have good fruit coming out of you, and you want to have a bountiful harvest that's producing. So you have to decide what's going. And that's where universe, spirit, Holy Spirit, whatever you want to call it, comes in and kind of helps you discern, all right, there's some branches I can take off. Should I take off this one? Because like
you could just call it higher self or your subconscious too.
Yeah, they said, like in the video too, I think another thing that can be taught was like, don't do more than 30% of it at one time, because that really can affect.
Oh yeah.
It stresses out the plants. Like when we mow grass, it's like, don't mow off more than a quarter of the total height because it stresses off the rest of the grass.
Yeah. And I think that is what happened when we first deconstructed. We did not intentionally do that, but over more than a third of the plant was gone, right? Of our own community was gone. They didn't want anything to do with us anymore. And that hurts. That was hard to come back from. You feel like you're dying almost. I mean, because everything's lost. If you feel very alone. Yeah. It feels like a death in a lot of sense, but that's
because in a plant, and then you took all that off. Now you have little that's out absorbing the sunlight and absorbing the water. Yeah, you need the leaves
to be making the food for the rest of the plant. Yeah, so it can recover, but you don't do that because it shocks it too much.
Yeah, it's a high. It puts a lot of stress on it, and I think that happens to a lot of people in deconstruction. Yeah, not by their choice necessarily either. Just that I'm separated from this whole community, and now all of a sudden 90% of their connections are gone. Yeah, and it's like. And we've heard it a lot of times from people, and I've seen a lot of videos from people like, I lost everything.
Well, and we actually, we kind of lucked out because both of us started deconstruct at the time. Our kids were still in the home and kind of went along with us. Our kids weren't grown and could have been, our kids could have been so entrenched with it and moved on and married and had children, you know, and been like, what are you doing, mom and dad? You know? We also there was a couple of friends that came along with us as we were sharing things. They were like, oh yeah, they started to see it pretty quickly. But some people, I know there's some of you out there that feel very alone. That's got to be hard. That has got to be hard to do it completely where you feel like you're alone. But that is another reason we do this podcast, is so that you know that there's more of us out here. And there are a lot of us out here. There really are. We want to be able to find each other. We want to know where each other, because we need community. Community is not some sort of privilege. It is. It's not a privilege. It's something you need to survive. You really do need community. And so if you find yourself in a place where you don't have community, please reach out to us. Like, we will do our best to stay in connection with you.
And that's kind of what you're working on right now.
Yes, and that's what my business kind of is helping with. But it's just like, there are other people. There is work in the progress, not just us, but others doing work to help people find one another who are going through this.
Yeah. Yeah, and we're seeing it more and more locally and a little wider too, of just, wow, there are people around here that it's opening our eyes here as we're kind of growing and reaching out into our community a little bit of, okay, these people didn't have a clue that there was this thing out here.
Yeah.
They didn't know what deconstruction was.
Well, and that's another thing too, is people understanding that, like, we've been deconstructing since 2012.
Yeah.
And the only people we knew, because I think if you go in the LGBTQ community, you will find people there, but we're not in the LGBTQ community. We are allies of it, but we're not in it ourselves, right? So I think for people like us, it's like, there's no one. We look very traditional. Where do we go? Where are people like us? And we found them online. That's where we found them. Social media, that is one of the greatest blessings. I use that word reluctantly, but one of the greatest things that have come from social media, because I think it's very toxic in a lot of ways, but I think there's good and evil in everything. So social media help us find others like us. And now, after how many years has it been?
14.
14 years. We are now starting to connect more and find more people locally. So it can take a long time before you feel safe enough to start putting those feelers out, right? And I think, obviously, the environment politically has helped more people come out. So you're like, oh, it's more people are talking about that kind of stuff, But so if it's just online right now, and maybe you feel like you're living a secret life where you're deconstructing and yet you have to pretend like you're not, like, that's okay. Wherever you're at, have compassion on yourself. You don't have to shock yourself by cutting everything off. You can do it in steps, whatever feels right to you, but just know that other people are out here, and we are working towards making communities where we can find each other easier.
Yep. So I guess the takeaway today is,
you're not alone.
You're not alone, and be your gardener. Decide where the energy needs to go. And it's all right to take away energy suckers.
And it's all right to do it at whatever pace you need to.
Yeah. And just to be able to shift where you need your efforts to go, because you don't want anything just stealing from you energy wise all the time, where now it takes away from everything else in your life.
Well, yeah. And I think relationships need to be something else I learned, is they need to be reciprocal.
Yeah.
There needs to be a give and a get, not just give, because that leads to resentment and it leads to burnout.
Yeah. Just like in a plant. Well, if the leafy parts that aren't producing fruit are taking all the energy and they're just making themselves bigger, and it's taken away from the fruit being able to grow bigger.
Yeah.
Okay. That needs to go.
Well, and think about what a plant does. It takes that sunlight, but it also gives us oxygen.
Yeah.
Gives us fruit. I mean, plants give a lot, but they also take a lot. They take nutrients from the soil. They pull water. Yeah. I mean, people will put plants down to prevent like water running like crazy, because the roots will help grab some of that water. So they do take a lot from the earth, but they also give a lot to the earth.
Yep.
It's the same thing with any relationship. You take from it and you give to it. And you have to take sometimes too,
Yep.
So if you don't have those relationships, it is just you giving, sit down and reevaluate what's going on and see what needs to change.
Yep.
That's gardening for your soul.
Gardening for Your Soul, Candy's new book being released on Amazon.
I guess I gotta get to work on that now.
Summer of 2030. If you're watching on YouTube, hit like, subscribe, and follow. We'd appreciate that greatly. Helps move us along and gets us going there. If you listen on a streamer, 5 stars on that. Helps push us out and helps move the algorithm. And if you want to reach out to us, questions, concerns, comments, videos, whatever, down in the description is a link, dannycan.com. You can go click on that and you can get a hold of us through there. But other than that, get them pruning shears out and start clipping.
You don't have to do it too fast, though.
Intelligently, smartly, wisely,
Consciously,
intentionally.
intentionally.
Snip, snip.
Bye.
Bye.